Hey everyone, I'm Josh.
And I'm Taylor.
We're a travel-loving couple who have been on over 26 cruises, sailed 19 different ships, and explored 51 ports of call across 24 countries.
We're here to help you plan unforgettable cruise vacations with expert tips, real experiences, and everything you need to know before you set sail.
So whether you're a first-time cruiser or a seasoned sailor, we've got you covered.
If that sounds like your kind of adventure, be sure to like this episode and subscribe for more cruise tips, destination guides, and travel inspiration.
Now, let's get cruising. What's going on, everyone? My name is Josh.
And my name is Taylor.
And welcome to the Diamond Princess. We are recording in Skywalker Lounge, which I would have liked to, we could have tried to get some better viewing so it wasn't just this wall behind us. But
Yeah.
there's other people on board, so we are trying to limit our disturbance for other people.
Yes.
But we thought this would be a great opportunity to have the podcast, obviously in a little bit of a different format because we're traveling,
Yeah.
but also an opportunity just to kind of talk about our first impressions of not only of the Diamond Princess,
The
not only
ship
of that,
itself.
but also of the company, I think, as a whole so far. So if you have no idea, you're just tuning in, we are currently on an 11-day sailing around Japan, and it is supposed to be about the
cherry blossoms, sakura.
So the weather actually today doesn't look too bad. It is still a little chilly. It's about 60 degrees for a cruise.
Yeah, but the sun's out now. This morning, first thing, it was very cloudy.
Yeah.
And it was a little chillier than it is now.
Right.
But it's kind of nice out on the decks, especially in like jeans and a long sleeve. It was comfortable.
Yeah. Hearing like a lot of banging. Wondering what that is. You hear that? Almost like there's people above us.
Well, you can go up those stairs right there, and there might be like a sports court or something up there.
Maybe that's what it is. A sports court up there?
I have no idea what's up there.
No idea. So one of the things that I want to test right now before we get too far into this is
do some ordering.
the service, essentially with the with the Princess app. Okay. On most of the ships, I think it's almost all of them now, with the medallion technology, you can order to wherever you're at, anywhere on the ship.
Yes.
Now, I think there is within reason, which is during the theater or in the theater during a show, they may not deliver to you because they shut service off so that they're not causing disturbance.
Yeah.
So I'm going to screen record here just to kind of pop that up on the screen so you guys can see. So this is our home page, and we're going to click on the little service button down here at the bottom. And there is quite a list of options that you can do: coffee, tea, beverages, food, stateroom amenities, dining room wines, different stuff. So we're going to order some drinks. Not that I need one from yesterday, but let's see here. Oh, look, they got Monkey 47. I think I'm going to get a gin and tonic. We'll do a lemon wedge and on the rocks with tonic water. Add. Now, with our, I'll let you go ahead there.
Go ahead.
Now, with our Princess Plus package, we have drinks that are included. So alcohol up to $15, drinks up to $15 essentially are included in our package. So, we can get, if you wanted a rum and Coke, you could order whatever type of rum that you want and then Coke with that as well. If I wanted to just get a gin martini, I could order that. So it's kind of nice. It's pretty flexible. So,
and then you can click your cart there if we're good to go.
all right, we'll check the cart.
I also brought some French fries.
And look at that. So it even actually shows our current location is Deck 18 at the Skywalker's nightclub. All right. And
you can also choose to have it delivered to your stateroom.
Yeah.
Even if you're not currently at your stateroom.
That's pretty cool. So it shows you how much it costs, but then because we have a package credit, it gets deducted. So it is $0.
Check it out. Order placed.
Okay. Order is
Screenshot
placed. Almost couldn't do it. So let's see how long it takes.
It's 12:48.
I saw some people kind of commenting on the fact that it was taking a while to get your drinks using this service. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think you got to think about this too, that You know, how
You
many
have to
other
be
people?
a little reasonable about it.
Right, because you know the bar up here is closed. So this is a lounge that's open usually late at night.
Yes, this is kind of like dance clubby,
Yeah,
like
and they have a bar, but the bar's not open until the venue space is actually open. So for right now,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, you can come up here and relax and hang out, or we might get kicked out here in 15 minutes because they're going to do a, you know, something
I didn't
specific.
see anything happening in Skywalker Lounge all day today
Okay.
until tonight. So
we might be
should
lucky.
be good. I have a feeling that's what, like, there's a few other people up here just sitting up here, like, literally watching the ocean out
Yeah.
the windows. I saw a few people down there playing some games. So kind of just like a chill place to hang out. And I feel like if they really didn't want you here, they would have it like closed off completely. So
There is, I believe, an elevator. I'm assuming there's an elevator
there
to get
is
up
an
here.
elevator. There's bathrooms right back there that I
Okay.
found. There's an elevator, and you can get to the stairs.
Okay.
So you don't have to take the
escalator.
escalator that we walked up.
So
here.
yeah, so we walked up the escalator. It was not on, which makes sense. I mean, if they're not actually doing things that the escalator's not going to be on, so cool. Well, we're going to see how long we can record here. So we're shooting on the Osmo. The battery might die. I don't know. We're going to see. So this is
We're
kind
testing some things on this
yeah,
podcast
it's-
episode.
This is kind of in the moment stuff, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
I think this is a perfect time to give like some of our first impressions of the full experience. Obviously, Josh said, you know, about the ship itself, the Diamond Princess, but then also about those experiences that you can only have with Princess Cruise Line,
Sure.
which is the medallion. So we'll see how that goes. But first thing for me, I told Josh yesterday that I was kind of getting the same vibes as like the older Norwegian ships that we have been on.
Yeah.
So like the Pearl and the Dawn.
Yes.
But then it also kind of reminded me in the atrium area of the Disney Magic, which would also make sense because of the timeline in which those ships were built.
right.
Kind of that obviously smaller ship in general, but the smaller atrium space, and then just kind of the setup on the decks.
Well, speaking of the atrium too, because when you think about it, to me, it actually also reminds me of the Prima, because they've reduced their
Yes, they have.
atrium space, right? That was very reminiscent when we were sitting down there today watching them. Well, we were participating, but even yesterday,
I was participating.
right? Even yesterday when we watched them do the sake drum.
Oh, yes.
Whatever.
I participated in a game today, if you're wondering. You'll
Yeah.
see that later in a video
Yeah.
or on the Instagram story.
Yeah, it's but what I will say though is that at least so far, obviously this is only our second day on the ship. It's our first
Yeah.
full day.
First
we
full day, yep.
embarked yesterday, but as far as first impressions go, I feel like managing the people a little bit around here seems to be a little bit better than what I've experienced in the past on other ships. I think.
I agree. I feel like I have not felt crazy crowded
Yeah.
anywhere except for in the buffet, but that's like just kind of to be expected on a cruise.
Right. And the other thing too is that I'm really surprised at how many activities there are, at least so far, especially today, for people to do. You know, there's a lot. There is a lot of stuff going
a
on.
lot of activities, and I was surprised at that as well. Just comparing it to some of the other cruises that we've been on. You know, normally the sea days, I feel like they have the most activities going on because, you know, everybody's going to be on board. But I was just kind of surprised because I feel like when we have been on cruises, specifically in like other countries where there can be like language barriers and things,
Right.
that seems to be like when they have the least amount of activities because of the language barrier kind of
Right.
being a challenge with so many languages on the ship. But here they're really treating it like English and Japanese. So
Yeah.
there are many activities on the ship where you can do with the English, or you could
First, or well, not first.
no, but completely
Yeah, right.
separate activities.
Right.
So like there was a trivia, and they announced that at the trivia that this trivia was going to be done in English, but there was going to be a trivia in Japanese only later in the day if
Right.
you didn't want to try and do the English version. So I thought that was kind of nice that they are doing that. But I, like Josh said, am surprised about how many activities there are.
So it's been roughly 5 minutes and is now on the way.
Wow.
So I mean, it's pretty quick.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
so we'll see how long it takes to get here.
Yeah.
Now that
Very
it's on the way.
interesting. Yes. So we were able to see the activities, and I think we may have talked about this in the previous podcast episode where we were still at home talking about like our expectations for the cruise. And we were able to see what activities were available. We did go through and we hearted some of those things. We have changed some of those since we've been on board, just based on like how our day was going today and things that we want to be able to do on the ship. But we've also had to kind of pick and choose, like, you know, what things we really wanted to do versus things that we were like, okay, we're going to have to skip that because, you know, we want to go do this instead. So I feel like the options are, especially for like us being younger, and if you know the cruise lines,
right?
Princess
I think that
it's just known for an older population.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like, we got to kind of like get the elephant in the room, address that, which is the fact that like Princess, for the most part, I think, you know, and we've talked about this already, like Taylor said, you know, seems to be an older crowd of people. I'm not calling you old, but that is the demographic, right?
It is the demographic.
It is an older generation of people.
It's just like how Disney's main demographic is families,
right? And you know, that's very evident. Like there's, we've only seen like, I would say less than 10 probably other couples who are our age or younger. And not anybody who's actually even all that older than us, I don't think. No.
Well, I was going to say, most of the younger looking couples that we have seen have been on the ship with, like, their parents.
Parents, right. Or with their parents, and then have, like we saw a couple this morning,
with them.
had a child with them. So
I jokingly said that there's, like, we were the youngest people besides the 6 kids that we've seen on the ship.
And I think that might be it right there.
There's nothing wrong with it. I've been having a great time.
Is that it? Yes. Hello.
Ah, yes. Oh my gosh, this is awesome.
My device is working well. So yeah, there you go.
Awesome.
This is the margarita and another one.
Perfect.
Bombay Bramble with that.
Perfect.
Yes. Thank you
so much. Wow, that was 7 minutes and 13-ish seconds. So it was pretty quick. Now, granted that during other times of the day, it could take longer. Maybe it goes quicker. We only order drinks. You can also order food and have food brought here. I actually had contemplated getting pizza as well. So I think the main point here is just to take away from this is that, like, the more that you order, more than likely it's going to take a little longer.
Yes. And then really just like, it does seem like, I think the ship seems like it's pretty full, because all of the suites were completely sold out.
Right.
Now, we were able to get an upgrade, so obviously it's not like a sold-out sailing if we were able to get an upgraded room. But I feel like it's pretty full, especially with how many people were at that talk this morning.
Yeah.
And then when we came up from that and like went into the buffet area, and like we walked through the pool, and the pool was like pretty full of people. The buffet was pretty full of people.
Yeah.
So it feels like it's a full ship, but I think you just have to have that expectation. Like, you're going to press the order button and your drinks aren't going to be there
in
less
your
than
hand
5
in
minutes.
a
second. Yeah.
I mean, that's even whenever you're sitting at the bar, sometimes you're going to wait 5 or 6 minutes because of, if it's busy. So
I was expecting like 15 to 20 minutes, and I was going to be fine with that.
Yeah, I'm like super shocked that
for it coming in 7 minutes, like, that was awesome. But I'm also not going to expect the rest of the cruise for things to come in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
We have to reality.
Right. So
what it could be.
Going back to what we were just talking about before our drinks got delivered.
Yes.
What the age demographic. I think you just kind of have to have that expectation when you're coming into this. So, like, if you're somebody who's watching, who's about our age, thinking about doing Princess, so far there have been tons of activities, and those activities are activities that everybody can do. Right.
Yes, they're like activities of all ages, pretty much.
I did think that it was kind of funny that our host for
I say all ages, I mean like adults.
Right. But I did think that it was really interesting that our host for trivia made a comment in which he said, if you can't come up and get your paper, I will bring it to you. And
he said, because you're on vacation.
Right. And that to me was not necessarily because you're on vacation, but because, you're a little older and you can't get up and walk all that well. And there are a lot of people on this ship who are
There are some spry.
But there are some also very spry elderly people. We watched.
I saw some people running up and down those stairs yesterday and was like,
Well, I was just going to say
"Jeez."
the ballroom dancing that they had going last night was, there's quite a few people that were up and doing that as well.
I was
So,
shook
yeah.
at the guests ballroom dancing.
Yeah. So, if you're thinking about doing it,
It's just
It's
something,
just something
to
to
keep
think
in
about.
mind.
Right.
It's just like no matter what cruise line you go on, you have to do a little bit of research to know what you're getting into. So
Yeah.
just like briefly, like Virgin Voyages is adult only, but it's kind of like a little more upbeat. And
Right.
certain areas of the ship, they're having parties, and other areas
or so
are...
we assume. We haven't done it.
No,
so.
but like I've seen some videos. And
Right.
then, you go on Disney, you have to expect families, you have to expect
Yeah.
kids. So just do a little research before any cruise that you do, or ask us or your travel agent at Goldgell Getaways. They will help steer you in the right direction.
Yeah. So, demographic, right? A little bit older crowd of people here. I was hoping they would make the buffet. I don't know why I thought it would make the buffet go a little bit faster, but it doesn't. It gets, so the funny thing about this ship is they've split the buffet onto two different sides. And they do kind of the same thing that a lot of other cruise lines do when they have a split buffet, which is one side opens earlier than the other side, which does tend to make the side that opens up first a little bit more crowded. So, I would say, like, if we come back to the buffet again for lunch later on in this cruise, which probably won't be the rest of the cruise until our next sea day,
Yeah, I guess so.
we will maybe go around like noon. That's when the other side opens up, and then it won't be as busy to get food on that other side. So, but yeah, so I think, like, let's, talk about first impressions of the ship. As a whole, this ship was built in 2004. I've mentioned this multiple times in this video, or well, in the videos that are going to be coming out, and then also in the podcast. But, the original ship caught fire, and so they couldn't finish it. And it was the sister ship that they took
We keep bringing this up.
I know, and then made it to made it what it is today, which is now the Diamond Princess. But it was built in 2004, so this is an older ship, and its style and its layout is very much a reflection of its time period.
Yeah, and
Right.
other ships that we've been on, like I mentioned,
Of,
they were
like, the
built
Dawn,
around that time.
The Pearl.
The Magic, even.
And for me, I actually really like that. I love this style of these larger lounge spaces to
Yes.
be able to come in and relax.
Smaller ship and larger
Yes.
lounge spaces.
I'm slowly kind of finding that I don't really enjoy this new style of, for example, Skywalker Lounge here where we're at, on a newer ship, they may take this and break this up into like 3 different spaces or something like that. It just tends to remove a lot of seating space.
Yes.
And then it
Especially
becomes-
for like those activity type things.
And it just becomes difficult, I think, in a lot of ways to be able to just sit down and like relax and enjoy
Yes.
the space and things like that. So I love having these larger spaces, just find a seat and relax.
I like the Explorers Lounge that we were in earlier today too.
Yeah, Explorers is
I
really
like
nice
how
as
that
well.
was set up for trivia. That
Yeah.
was really good. And it seemed like there was plenty of seats. Like there were still empty seats in there
Yeah.
once it started.
So there's Explorers Lounge, there is the Wheelhouse,
Yes.
and then this lounge, which I think are like the 3 main big lounges.
Yes.
They do have, I think, a few other small ones. There's a cigar lounge, which you can go inside and
It's
smoke.
kind of like it's near the casino and the
Yeah.
theater.
Now, it's not, I call it the cigar lounge. What I should call it is probably like the smoking lounge.
Yes.
Because it's not limited to just cigars, to my knowledge.
Yeah, I
there were
believe
people
you're
that were smoking
correct.
cigarettes in there earlier, or yesterday, maybe, I guess it was. But, yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. So I guess I did watch a couple ship tours because I did want to have an idea of what to expect. But I still think once you get on a ship and see it for yourself, you don't know for sure what it's going to be like. So I was expecting that, like, it's obviously been refurbished since it was
Yes.
built. But I was still expecting it to have that, like, older feel to it, which it does a little bit. But the difference between
I don't know if it was like a bug or a hair or
It was probably a fuzzy or
a
something.
fuzzy or something just flew into
Because
my
they're
nose.
like all over your hair hat.
Sorry.
Just because something is older doesn't mean that it's necessarily run down.
Right.
Because I think sometimes I like get those a little confused, and I was like waiting to see things that were like a little run down, but I feel like everything is very well like kept up with, and I don't really notice anything that feels like oh, that needs to be fixed, or oh, that needs to be repainted or cleaned or whatever.
I mean, I think
I definitely see the olderness, especially out on the decks.
yes, outside it is more difficult to keep this ship looking clean and young outside because
I
it
think
is just
looks
more
clean, but it's just it doesn't
no,
have that young.
I don't mean clean as in like trash or anything like that, but clean as far as like maintaining the paint, no rust, those things that just happen with weathering. So obviously, as the older the ship gets, it is far more difficult to keep it looking brand new. Now, could they certainly do more? Right? I think my first reaction is always to compare an older ship to Disney standards, because Disney does an excellent job of maintaining their older ships and keeping them looking brand new. I mean, I don't know. I still think that this looks pretty clean. I think it looks pretty good.
I do,
Is it
too.
as pristine as something like Disney's Magic or Wonder? Maybe not, but it's still pretty close, I would say.
Yeah,
as
and it's
far
also
as
been since
keeping it clean.
2018 since we've been on the Disney Magic.
Right.
And we have not been on the Disney Wonder yet.
Right.
So
It's been a while.
it has been a while. But I would just say, in comparison to the other ships that we've been on around this age of ship, I think it compares pretty well.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. This ship, now we haven't, obviously, again, this is first impressions. It's only our first full day on the ship. So we haven't gotten to do everything or even see everything. Like today is our first day up here in Skywalker Lounge.
Yeah.
We didn't get the chance to walk through here yesterday. But, they have lots of pool space, I think. A decent amount
think
of
so.
hot tubs.
Yeah.
This ship
Indoor
has
and outdoor.
Yeah, this ship has an indoor pool space. So if
with
you,
hot tubs inside as well.
right, so even with the weather today being maybe slightly chillier, especially with the wind blowing, if you want to be able to enjoy the pool, you can do that in the what I call the community pool area.
Oh my gosh. Yes, but it's funny because there were plenty of people still in the pool outside, in the hot tubs outside.
Right.
And sitting in their swimsuits out in the chairs, like laying out in the sun. I'm like, these people must be from somewhere cold
Yeah.
if they are enjoying this right now, because I would be freezing.
Yeah. But I mean, it's nice. I am tempted to go change and jump into the hot tub out here.
I've been waiting for you to say that, but we got to go to tea at 3:00.
Yes,
so
I know. Yes, I know. So
that's something you've really been
I
wanting
think
to do.
what I
so.
will really want to do, because for this cruise we are eating in the late seating, which is also really funny. This is where I kind of like I don't mean to offend anybody who is older and does like to watch our videos, but late seating on most other cruise lines is like 8:30,
Yeah.
right? Here on Princess it's 7:30. So it's not
But I don't
actually
mind it.
that late. Yeah, I mean I don't mind it either. I do
8:30 is way too late for
Right.
me to eat.
but I make that joke because again,
It makes me sound old because I get indigestion if I eat that late.
but I make that joke because again, the demographic on the ship, it's an older generation of people.
Yeah.
So 8:30 is probably just too late. 7:30, and it works for us. But with us having that later time when we get back on the ship, throughout the week, and we're sailing, I really want to come back out here to the back of the ship in these hot tubs because I think we can still get. Yeah, like you can still get a pretty decent view off of the hot tub out here over the side of the ship as we're sailing. So maybe not this side. We want to go into the hot tub on that side. I think there's
Wait.
one over there, right? Oh, no, there's not.
You mean-
Is there?
I don't
No,
know.
there's not. I think it's only on this.
Okay,
no,
well,
it's
we'll
over
look
there. I
at
see
that
it.
later. Anyway,
Yeah, I see it.
but you have to think about sunset's like 6:00, and most of our port days end around 5 or 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I know.
So
I mean,
you
if we
might
get back
not be
on
able
the
to
ship.
see much.
Yeah, but if we get back on the ship in time, we have time.
Yeah,
So
Well,
that's probably
we
what I'll
just
do.
might not be sailing when we're in the hot tub,
I mean, we'll see.
unless we do
So-
it on the sea day or this evening.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
I'll just have to do my hair and makeup before we go to the hot tub.
Right.
So I
Our
can-
first port of call is Nagasaki. So today we're spending all day sailing. We can't see the coast at all. I don't know. I haven't looked at the
No.
map to see like where we're at, but we must be pretty
Well, the
far.
coast would be that direction.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. We can't see it at
Yeah.
all. Could be weather, because it does look
Could be.
look
It
pretty
looks a little.
cloudy and probably
Yes.
rainy out there. But we'll be at Nagasaki tomorrow. So
Anyway, back
9:30.
on topic to the ship.
right.
Sorry, I'm chewing.
Well, you kind of went back into that like you had something you wanted to say.
I did, and then I was chewing. I'm sorry. Rhapsody of the Seas on Royal Caribbean.
Well, we didn't sail that. We just toured it, right?
I toured it. You did not.
Or you toured it. Yeah, yeah.
And I was expecting the atrium to look more like that. However, I like this atrium a lot more because it's brighter.
Oh, it is pretty bright.
It is
yeah.
very bright in there. I love that it's like the 3 levels.
Right.
So like if something's going on down in the center, people can be, on the
Right.
rails looking down in. Carefully also on the stairs looking down in. We will have to get there early tonight because of the Champagne waterfall.
Oh, right.
It's only tonight.
Yep.
So I have to get dressed and get there early for that. But I just, overall, I think the ship is like,
Yeah,
I really like
agree.
I do like it.
I agree.
For the era which it was
Sure.
built and the size. And I also think it's like, something else I think about is most of the cruise lines keep their like newer ships in the places that are really popular for cruising, like the Caribbean.
I would say also that are easier access for a wider range of people, right?
Yes.
Japan is not necessarily an easy accessed region
Yes.
for a wide range of people.
Well, and so that makes sense to me for them to have this ship here.
Right.
Granted, I know that it was like built in Japan or whatever,
Right.
so that also is kind of cool that it's here. But because it's an older ship, it makes sense as to where it's sailing. Just like with the Norwegian Epic, how it's kind of like a weirder ship, that it normally is sailing in the Mediterranean.
Right.
It makes a
Occasionally
little
it's in
more
the
sense.
Caribbean.
It is occasionally in the Caribbean.
In the wintertime, I
But it
think.
makes sense to me
Yeah.
where they have it.
Yeah, it's a great ship. Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, it is a pretty great ship, I think, so far. Obviously, it's only our first full day, so maybe that'll change when we hit our when we do the podcast at the end of the cruise on our last sea day. So, but this again is a port-heavy cruise.
Yes, it
so
is.
my initial expectation is that we're not going to spend much time on the ship.
Yes.
I'm
interested to see how the excursions go
Right.
with Princess.
So we were supposed to be in an inside stateroom.
Oh, yes.
And again, I'm not, I'm always trying to be transparent with everybody. This is not something that we were invited to do.
It's not like a
and
sponsored.
Right. It's not
cruise.
something like the Disney Treasure, where Disney reached out to us and said, Josh and Taylor of Travel with Josh and Taylor, we want you to come be on the ship. Right. And they, paid for all of our stuff to get there, whatever. This is through Goldgell Getaways. So if you're interested in becoming a travel agent and getting
Yeah.
to take advantage of some of these same things that we do, you can certainly do that by joining Goldgell Getaways today. Can I say that? Tomorrow? Whatever.
Whenever you watch this, whenever you decide you want to do it.
And, you can also take advantage of some of these things. So this is basically it's not really like a FAM, and it's not necessarily like a, seminar at sea, but essentially we get to come on. We only pay taxes and fees to be on the ship. And so we got an inside stateroom, but then it was only like $90 to bid for an ocean view. So I thought it's only $90. And we've only paid taxes and fees, which was about $300 total. So it was kind of like, why not?
Oh, yeah. And we got the upgrade.
And we got the upgrade. So
Yeah, I think it was
ship's
totally
not-
worth it.
Yeah, the ship's obviously not totally sold out. But
Yep.
speaking of that, the room layouts here are very different than any other ship that we've ever been on.
Yes, so far. Before you dive into that, I do just want to mention real quick, because you said about like this is like a benefit or whatever of being a travel agent. Just know that, if you sign up to be a travel agent, you don't just get to immediately do all that
Oh,
stuff.
that's
You you actually have to
Sell some stuff.
you have to work until
Right.
you can get things like this.
Right.
The benefits come along with putting in all the hard work and the effort. So we're not the only people to get, to take advantage of
Yes,
things like this.
of course.
Other agents within Goldgell Getaways we've had some awesome agents. All of the agents are awesome, but some are putting in some real time and effort to their trainings and learning and, selling themselves to book their vacations.
Yeah.
So just know, if you sign up, you can't just go get a really discounted vacation
Right.
for yourself and then quit because you got that trip.
Right.
That's not how that works.
Yeah. So with that being said, though, I do want to just talk about the room, which is that the layout is very different. And I actually really enjoy the layout of our room. Now, not all,
Me too.
Not all ocean view rooms are laid out the same way. Some of them are actually laid out with the bed, the head of the bed. Yeah, the headboard is like against the window.
Yes.
Essentially. So ours
And
is
that's
not
how
that
like
way.
the interior rooms would be like that.
Yeah.
With like the foot of the bed facing you when you walk into the
in.
room.
Ours is not laid out that way. It's a little bit different. You can watch the embarkation day video, or I may end up doing something that's a little bit more of a longer video kind of review of being in the ocean view room at some point that you can also check out. But
It's funny, we talked about this, I believe in our Patreon, or it's not Patreon anymore.
YouTube
We
members?
switched to YouTube members exclusively. We do podcast episodes on there, and in that episode we talked about how we got this upgrade for our room,
Right.
and then I saw where the room was at on the map and was like, I don't think this is I think this is in a bad location, because initially with our interior room, once we got it, because it was like a guaranteed room, so that means you don't get to pick where it's at.
Right.
It was on like deck 12, I think, which is 2 decks, or actually that's the deck right below the pool deck and like the buffet and stuff. So we were on deck 12, and it was in an okay location. It didn't seem like it was right below anything that would be super noisy. And then when we got moved down to deck 6, and I was like, oh, like that might be nice, because we were on deck 6 on a Royal Caribbean cruise before. It was really close to like getting to things, but then I
Yeah.
was like, oh my gosh, like it's right beside the casino,
right
like
beside the theater.
right beside the theater, and like, you know, people are coming and going from the theater in the evening for the shows. There's an early show and a late show, and then with the casino being right there, that's open really, really late.
Yeah.
So I was like, this could like potentially be a horrible room, especially like where it showed like the entrance to the hallway and then like our rooms right there. So I'm like, this is
Yeah.
not going to be good. However, it turns out that it's really good, because that entrance that's right by our door is like one of those fire doors, so it's shut all the
Right.
time. And then, but we can kind of use it almost as like a secret entrance. You can open it, but it's
Yeah.
just always closed.
But I think the other thing that's nice too is that because of how the room is laid out, where we have
We're in like
the
a corner
bathroom-
room almost.
Right. As you walk in, you've got the bathroom first, and it's the bathroom, and then there's like a walk-in closet, and then the rest of the room.
Yes.
There adds that space. So
like
your
a
head's
buffer.
not right next to the, basically the hallway
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And because we're kind of back in the corner, and nobody's really using that door, for the most part, people are coming down in from the atrium.
Yes.
So
that's
nobody's-
like the real entrance of the hallway.
Right. So not a lot of people are actually cutting through there. So
Yeah.
it is actually ends up
I
being
only
really
heard that
nice.
door open and close one time last night before we went to sleep.
I don't even think I heard it at
You
all.
were probably asleep already.
I passed out last night. So, but overall, I mean, I think the room's pretty nice.
I
Is
really do. Like, I was sitting in the chair this morning. You were on your computer, and I was like, you know what? I was like, I think I really like the layout
Yeah.
of this room.
the room has I believe it's a Japanese outlet, which is a little similar but different than the U.S.
There's a European outlet in there too, isn't there?
There's a U.S. outlet, and then there is a European outlet. So, I brought a Japanese converter for U.S. and then my European converter for U.S. So there's a decent amount of plugs. The lights next to the beds have USB ports, so you can plug stuff into there and charge
Yeah.
your stuff.
That's something for basically every trip that we go on. We check to see, whether it's cruise or land-based, we always check to see what kind of outlets that we would need or
Right.
adapters that we might need. And we make sure we bring those. So we now have them for Europe, the UK, and Japan.
Yep. Now, one thing that we haven't
You can
got-
get them on Amazon
Yeah,
relatively
super
cheap.
So one thing that we haven't got to explore or experience yet is any of the shows in the theater. Last night
Yes.
was a magician,
He's here again later this week.
but because the last few nights I have not really slept. I mean, it even happened last night, but then I was able to go back to sleep. My body is waking me up at 3 o'clock on the dot. I don't know why, but it is.
Your internal clock's like, it's time to get up.
Yeah, it's waking me up at 3 o'clock on the dot. So I wanted to just go back after dinner and go to bed, and that's what we did. But hopefully later on this week and throughout the rest of the cruise, we'll go and experience some of the actual like Broadway style shows
Yeah.
that they have. So,
There's a couple of just like singers in there that I don't feel like I necessarily need to see,
Right.
but I would like to see the shows. I think they have 3 like main shows.
Yeah,
For like their Broadway style
I think so.
productions.
I think so. Let's see what else. Food. I think first impressions of food so far has been pretty good.
It has.
Um,
I think the food's been really good.
yeah, both at the buffet and at dinner last night.
Yeah, and the pizza.
The pizza, actually, I'm almost on the fence of declaring Princess as having the best pizza so far.
It's really good.
Yeah.
The crust is really fluffy.
Right.
And it's like, it's not necessarily that like other cruise lines pizzas are smaller and so your slices are smaller, but I think these pizzas are bigger. Because
the slices are definitely
big
larger.
slices of
Yeah,
pizza.
the slices are definitely larger. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, by comparison, Sorrento's on Royal Caribbean is a very popular one.
And it's
the,
good.
The crust is usually super, super thin.
Yeah.
They are smaller pizzas, so if you want more, you just get more slices.
Right.
But what I would say is like these are a more traditional pizza slice. I
Yes,
think.
like a
large.
you think of
like
a
large
pizza slice,
pizza.
this is the size that
Yeah.
it is. And it's really nice because it's just outside the buffet area on deck 14. There is the pizza place. There's the bar. It's Prego's Pizza on this one. Then there's the bar. And then there is the grill that has... I took a picture of the menu because I didn't realize how much they had there.
Okay.
You can get burgers, hot dogs, fries. They also have chicken tacos. And there was one other kind of taco. And then they have barbecue pulled pork sandwiches. I think they have chicken sandwiches.
Okay.
There might be like one or two more items that I'm forgetting.
Wow. Okay.
But I was really surprised. And they're pretty much making it to order. Like,
Yeah.
there's a guy or whatever, a crew member.
Sorry, I was just checking. Just looking.
Okay. There's a crew member standing there and he writes down your order and then he
Yeah.
hands it to them.
Nice.
So it's not like, everything's kind of just already ready to go and they just hand it to you. Like they're like constantly
little
cooking.
made to order.
It's almost made to order basically. And like the burgers, you can pick what kind of toppings you want on it and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
pretty nice.
Nice.
And then we haven't tried the ice cream yet and we haven't
Nope.
tried the premium desserts yet, which are included with our Princess
Plus package, yeah. So we get 2 premium desserts each day per person, and I
Which
believe
I feel
that
is
is
kind
like
of a lot.
it is a lot. It's I think you have the option between a slice of cake, which
I would
is
like to try.
in a few places. I think maybe. I know we keep seeing it down at the cafe bar or the Good Spirits bar,
Good
which is
Spirits
also
bar.
the coffee bar.
Yeah.
But then there's also up by the ice cream. I think is where you can get the sundaes.
Yes,
and
I saw
that-
people with the pool with Sundays.
Right, and that's the other basically premium option
Yeah.
for desserts is a sundae. So not
It's-
really my cup of tea as far as desserts go, but
We're definitely gonna try them.
yeah, we'll definitely try it.
Um,
Just to try it. So
I think though, like I've noticed this on like other cruise lines, you can tell who has gotten packages and who hasn't gotten packages. But I almost feel like it's silly to not get at least the Princess Plus.
I mean,
I think it is totally worth the money after
I
just
think
being
we
on
talked
for one
about
day.
this potentially in the podcast.
Well,
last
we may
week.
have, but we hadn't fully experienced
Right.
it yet. We knew what it was.
Right, but
Now that
here's
we've
the
experienced
thing.
it for a
With
day.
everything that's included, right, by comparison to other cruise lines, which I don't necessarily like to do, but I think you need to have perspective sometimes to understand why we think the way that we think, which is for the Princess Plus, it was like $60 per person per day, I think is what it was.
Yes.
In total came out to...
I don't
Like-
think you need to math that. $60
Okay,
per
whatever.
person per day is
So
good.
anyways, just for Wi-Fi alone on somebody like Royal Caribbean, you're paying $30 per day per person to have. I don't even know if that includes streaming, but just to get internet for one device for one person. When we think about drink package on somebody like Royal Caribbean, that's going to cost you at least $75
To
per person
upwards of
per
$90.
day. Yes, per person per day, and that's just for the drink package. $75.
Yes.
Let's say I just want to use like the lowest price that we've have seen recently.
Recently,
maybe.
there was a 65
Okay,
because there was a sale.
so let's do 65 because Princess
But
is
that's
60.
But that's just
right?
for beverages
Right.
on.
So you could go
Royal.
on Royal Caribbean and spend $65 per person per day and just get drinks. But then you want to get Wi-Fi. You want to prepaid gratuities,
Mm-hmm.
right? All of those things are included in the Princess Plus package, which so far right now I think has been just excellent.
Yeah. Every drink we've had has been really good.
Yeah.
All the service that we've experienced has been really good. Everybody's very nice. Not that I don't expect the crew to be nice, but like, you know, they
Right.
work long days and they have a lot of
Yeah.
hours. But everybody's been great.
Yeah.
Everything's been
But
great.
it is a little silly to not probably
To not get
splurge
it.
a little bit and just spend that money, because
Yeah.
now Taylor and I both have internet, which includes video streaming.
I was watching TikTok on the treadmill while I walked to
I
the
think
gym
that, like,
this
that's
morning.
probably the most important thing to mention when it comes to internet services, because on most other cruise lines, when you get Wi-Fi, it doesn't include
It's like
video streaming.
basic.
It's like basic to like surf the web and like maybe
Texting,
post on
email.
Facebook or something like
Yeah.
that.
Some of them you can't even post.
Right. So I think it's important to note that. But then on top of that, then we have the drinks, right? And we have bottled water, we have coffee, we have juices, alcohol, up to $15.
Up to $15 per drink.
Right. And then the gratuities included. So we also have 2 complimentary
They have
casual dining locations.
so
that we
they
can
have
go to.
specialty dining, and then they have casual dining, and then like all your included dining.
Yeah. So we'll end up doing that at some point during this cruise as well. But yeah, I mean, it seems kind of silly to not spend that extra money.
Yes.
I know like once you've already spent how much money to get on the cruise, it's like, that's another thing. But
But then it's really nice because we talked about this morning when we were recording our video. Like, it's silly to not get it, because then once you've prepaid for everything,
Right.
so you girl math that, and once you're on board, everything's already paid for. It's
Right.
free. So why not just budget for all of that pre-sailing,
right.
spend that money before you get on the ship, and then that way you're not like what would be feeling like nickel and diming for paying for every single drink that you get that's like $12, $13, $14.
Right.
For every coffee that you get in the morning. If it's not like a
I
black
think they were
coffee.
like $5 or $6.
They
or
were like
something
$5 or
that.
$6 for a latte, an Americano. But still, that adds up if you're having
Right.
one a day, or you've got multiple people in your party
Right.
having one a day, or multiple a day.
I mean, that's what I had, 2
Plus the
Americanos
drinks.
already today.
Plus your gratuities for every day of the sailing.
Yeah.
And then the Wi-Fi, you know, even if you just want to get on for a few minutes and check, like,
Right.
so
Yeah. I mean,
I think it's worth it to spend that
Definitely.
money pre-cruise versus having
For
a
sure.
big bill at the end that
For sure.
adds all that additional stuff in.
for sure. So I think with that being said, the one thing that we definitely have to talk about, which we haven't, I wanted to kind of save it for last.
Oh boy.
And I think we're kind of getting towards the end of.
I think so. I think we've
first
covered like
impressions.
yeah.
And that is this thing. So probably can't see it because it's so wide, but there are the
The
medallions.
medallion. Not a Mickey medallion, don't be mistaken. This is
yeah,
the princess
right.
medallion.
I think
Better than the Mickey medallion, if you know what the Mickey medallion is.
hands down. So there are
The
other.
Mickey medallion is literally just what you win from trivia, and Josh
Right.
is like, hands down.
So it's funny because some other cruise lines have started to try to do similar things as what Princess has done
Yes.
here.
It's not the
And it's
same.
just not the same. I'm really curious to see if there's like maybe some type of trademark that Princess has gotten on this
Yeah.
technology.
You need to do a little research on that and find out.
Yeah, because it just makes sense. To be on a cruise and have this makes sense.
This, if you want to go on a cruise and you want to relax, you've got the Princess Plus or Princess Premier or whatever you pre-purchased. You can literally sit around and barely have to lift a finger
Right.
your entire trip. Like,
Yeah.
cruises are relaxing to begin with. You can already barely have to lift a finger, but this makes it even more so, I think.
I think the biggest or the easiest comparison would be we were just on the Symphony last year with Taylor's family.
Yes, over the summer.
And some of Taylor's family bought the bands that you can get on Royal Caribbean to use. Well, the funny thing is with the bands is that like they're all like Taylor's family would be like, oh well, you know, now I don't have to have my CPass card or whatever because I just got my band. The funny thing is though is that when you go to order a drink, 9 times out of 10 they make you take your band off because you have to give it to them so that they can take it to the register and tap
scan it.
which is kind of silly. Why spend the extra money for something that you still have to take out of your pocket and give to them, right? So on Royal Caribbean, you would just give them your CPass card.
Yes, I just wear a lanyard with my CPass card
Right.
in it. It's
And
more
then
convenient
they
for
take
me
it
than
to
a
the
band.
register, they confirm, you know, your drink, whatever, and then that's it. It's really silly to buy something that's not really in all a convenience. Disney has slowly been rolling out their magic bands on the ships so
They
that you
have.
can use your magic band to tap
Get
to
into
pay
your door.
or
Oh yes, to pay.
or to get into your door. This thing though is completely different. It is so cool, and it's also a little bit embarrassing, which I will follow up with here in just a second. So the medallion, what's really cool about it is that I'm assuming it's RFID technology or something like that.
Some sort like that, yeah.
So the crew members will carry around like little iPads.
And actually, all the crew members have their own
Have their own,
medallions
right.
as well.
So they're carrying around their little iPads, and what happens is as they're walking around, and as they pass you, your face will pop up on the iPad, right? Because the iPad is registering
It
that your
senses you
medallion
near them.
is right next to it. So when, let's say we're at the bar, and we're sitting there at the bar, and there's a bunch of other people there at the bar, they can ask us what we want, and they say, okay, great, and they can look on their tablet, and they can see, oh, there's Taylor. I see her face, and I see her right there. They're going to confirm what her name is first. They'll
Yep.
say yes, and then that's it. You don't have to hand them a C-band. You don't have to hand them a card. You don't have to hand them your
Nothing.
medallion.
They literally click your
Nothing.
face. They click what drink you want so that it like
That's it.
charges it to your room,
Done.
and that's it.
Now, the embarrassing part about that is that if you don't take such a great flattering picture of yourself before you get on the ship, or something that is what I would say is accurate to the way that you look, then
Let's just say the first bar that we went up to, they saw Josh and they said, "Oh, you shaved."
yeah,
I don't know if you can see that.
probably not. I don't know if
I
it's
hope
gonna
it
focus.
focuses. If not, you'll see it later.
Yeah, but essentially,
Hilarious.
so they're looking at that photo and then they're looking for you. If they don't see you pop up, sometimes it does happen. Or let's say if like the lounge is like super crazy busy, and all of the faces are popping up, sometimes it's a little bit easier for them to just say, "What's your room number?" You tell them your
Yes.
room number, you pop up, they see your face pop up, they click it, bam, done. Still don't
Yeah.
have to send them or give them your card or
Nope.
anything like that. Easy, easy, easy. The other thing is that because of whatever the technology is, RFID, whatever, there are sensors and other things, I'm assuming, all around the ship. So on the app, you can actually use, it's almost like GPS, but it's not that. So don't think that it is. But essentially, as you're walking around, the app will know where you're at. That's how, when we went to order, the app already knew that we were in Skywalker Lounge. So
Yep.
it makes it like really, really easy, super convenient.
Well, and not just that too. Like, we were walking around touring the ship yesterday when we first got on,
Yeah.
and I got on the app because I was trying to figure out where like one of the other lounges was. And when I clicked on there, I could see Josh's face because our accounts are linked. I could see his face on my map. So if you have other people that you're linked with in your party, you can see
Right.
where they are. You can also link yourself with other rooms, or like if you make friends, or
Yeah.
you come with another family or something on the ship, you can link together, and then you can see you have to like accept if you're not in the same stateroom. You have to accept that they can see your stuff on there. I
Right.
saw somebody in front of me doing that earlier. And then you can like kind of track each other to see where you're at. Like, oh, they're in their stateroom, I won't bother them right now.
Right.
And then, or they're in bed, they're sleeping.
Yeah.
Or you see somebody's up at the pool and you're ready to hang out or whatever. It'd be like, oh, hey, I saw you're up at the pool. I'm gonna come meet you up there.
Yeah. Now, when you do get on and off the ship, you will have to tap. They have like a little thing there, just like you would tap a regular card.
I think that's like a safety thing.
Yeah, so you will also have to do that. Which is, so be mindful. Like if you get a necklace, like they sell like necklaces that you can put your
They
your
sell really
medallion in,
fancy bracelets too.
you'll have to like lean in and tap it, or take your
Yeah.
necklace off. So
We got these little things. We can link these. We got these little holders on Amazon.
oh yeah,
They were like $5.
Yeah.
And they go right on your watch band. So it doesn't have to be an Apple Watch, whatever
Right.
kind of watch. But I've seen that other people have gotten these because these medallions are basically the exact same size as like an AirTag.
yeah,
So basically anything that holds an AirTag, you could also get for that if you don't want to wait till you get on the ship to get something.
right.
But these are really nice. I don't have to wear anything extra. It goes right on my watch. It doesn't feel bulky or heavy, or doesn't get in the way or anything. So
Yeah.
very nice. These are handy dandy. I like the medallion a lot.
Yeah, it's
I was obsessed with it after the first like 20 minutes of being on the ship.
yeah, it's super nice. It's very convenient.
You didn't even
and-
say about your stateroom.
Oh, you mean like in the fact
It
that
unlocks
it
your
unlocks the
door
door
when you're close by.
as you're approaching it.
It sees you. You can see your door handle.
Well, it doesn't
like
see you. It just recognizes the band is or the
it sees.
medallion
Hold
is
on.
nearby.
Let me quotation marks. It sees you coming nearby
Right.
your room, and then you'll see like your little your door handle will light up a little bit, but then also like you see your face will pop up on the screen,
Yeah.
and it'll say "Welcome back, Taylor."
Right.
And then it'll say door unlocked, or it'll say like authorizing, and then door unlocks. So like you don't even have to tap your medallion, and then you
Yeah.
just walk right on in. Now, if you didn't want to use a medallion, which I don't know why you wouldn't want to, because it's like really great. I saw another couple; they were using cards.
Oh, really?
Yes, they were using
It's really
cards to
weird.
get into their room.
Because I guess there is like I guess if you're weird about it, you're afraid that like somebody might find some way to abuse that. But you know, we also paid to have these shipped to us. I think that's kind of dumb that you have to pay to have them
Well,
shipped to you.
And we technically didn't even have to have them shipped to us. We
Well,
could have
that's
picked
what I was
them up
getting
at the
to.
port.
That's what I was getting to. You don't have to pay for that. You can pick them up at the port. We saw, man, there must have been hundreds of
ton of
boxes
people.
that people did not have them shipped. But I just kind of like that kind of specialness of like, oh, you know, it's like gets you excited for your trip.
Yeah, we
Get a
already
little
had
package
it.
delivered.
It has your name on it, and it has the ship and sail
Right.
date on it as well. So it's kind of like a memorabilia thing. You can keep all your medallions from your cruises.
Yeah. So, yeah, so I guess you get a new one each time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's been a pretty good start, I think, to this cruise.
I think so. I was actually thinking about this last night when we went to bed, that I would like to do another Princess Cruise, even if it's like a shorter one, that is like in the Caribbean or something, just so that I can spend a little more time on the ship utilizing the medallion and just experiencing like everything on board. Like I know we get 2 full sea days and we're going to have all the evenings and stuff
Right.
every day. But this is, we've already said this, it's a really port heavy cruise.
Yeah.
You know, I like that when we've done other cruise lines, we've had a chance to just experience like the ships
Right.
without necessarily having to get off and experience destinations. Cause that is the thing, like we picked this cruise specifically because of where it was going,
Right.
not because of the ship or anything. So
Right.
I would like to pick another cruise that we pick for the ship
Right.
and not for the destinations.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think that's about it as far as kind of the.
If you're watching this and you've ever been on a Princess Cruise or know like which is the best, newest or coolest favorite ship you've ever been on,
So like the Sun Princess, I think, is the newest one.
is it?
Something like that. I've been
Well,
seeing a lot of people's videos pop up.
If anybody's
about it.
been on any of them and you know you really enjoyed your time, let us know because I would like to do that at some point.
Yeah. With that being said, everybody, that is going to wrap up our first podcast here on the Diamond Princess. So the
Yeah.
second one
We'll
will
probably
be,
we'll have a second episode from on the ship.
right, will be from our last day on the ship, which will be our second sea
And that makes
day.
me sad to talk about already.
I know, but it's going to be here at some point. So,
I know.
so we'll get to talk about that. We'll talk a little bit more of like an overview of the cruise, how things have changed, and our thought process from our first impressions to being on here from throughout the entire week. And
Yeah.
and yeah, so that's it. Cool. Well, my name's Josh.
And my name is Taylor.
We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.